Fandango is widely considered gaming's greatest tragedia masterpiece that flopped commercially. You play as Manny Calavera, a travel agent for the dead, in a world blending Mexican folklore with 1940s film noir. After discovering a corruption scandal where valid tickets to the afterlife are being stolen, Manny embarks on a 4-year journey across the land of the dead to find justice. Why it's a masterpiece? It is pure art. The writing is sharp, cynical, yet heartwarming. The visuals are a unique fusion of Aztec imagery and Art Deco architecture, backed by an unforgettable orchestral jazz soundtrack. It proves video games can tell stories as deep as any film. Why it was forgotten. Despite critical acclaim, it suffered 3 fatal blows. 1. Bad timing. It launched in 1998 alongside titans like Half-Life, Metal Gear Solid, and Zelda: Ocarina of Time. 2. Clunky controls. It used frustrating tank controls keyboard-only movement instead of the beloved mouse-click style, confusing players. 3. Genre fatigue. Gamers in the late 90s wanted fast-paced 3D action, not slow-burn brain teasers. It was a beautiful swan song for the adventure genre that audiences weren't ready to appreciate until years later. Imagine if James Bond were a woman, infinitely more stylish, and dropped into a colorful 1960s spy parody. That is, No One Lives Forever. You play as Kate Archer, a super spy with serious flair. Instead of generic military gear, your arsenal includes explosive lipsticks, sleeping gas, perfume, and robotic poodles. It's a perfect blend of tight FPS action, stealth, and genuine comedy. The writing is so good that players often stop just to listen to guards arguing about philosophy instead of shooting them. The game suffered a bureaucratic death known as licensing hell. Currently, Warner Brothers, Activision, and Fox all have partial claims to the property, but nobody knows exactly who owns what. Because of this legal mess, no one can legally sell it on Steam or GOG. It is gaming's greatest homeless masterpiece, abandoned not by players, but by lawyers. If One Piece rules the ocean, Skies of Arcadia rules the skies of gaming, it is the ultimate antidepressant for anyone tired of moody, angsty RPGs. You play as Vise, a young air pirate of the Blue Rogues. But don't worry, you aren't the bad guys. You are the Robin Hoods of the clouds, stealing from the tyrannical Valuan Empire to give to the poor. Why is it a masterpiece? Because it captures the spirit of adventure like no other. The world consists of islands floating in an endless sea of clouds. You get your own airship, and you are free to fly anywhere, discovering lands that aren't even on the map yet. The highlight is the ship-to-ship combat. You command cannons, torpedoes, and maneuver around wind currents to take down massive Imperial armadas. The swelling, orchestral music, and Vice's infectious optimism make you truly believe you are living a dream of absolute freedom. Why was it forgotten? Simply put, it was born on a sinking ship called the Sega Dreamcast. The game launched just as the Dreamcast was dying, although it was later ported to the GameCube as Skies of Arcadia Legends. It ran headfirst into the juggernaut that was Final Fantasy X on the PS2. Compared to FFX's flashy, realistic graphics, Arcadia's anime style looked childish to gamers at the time. Thus, this legendary pirate adventure faded into obscurity, becoming a rare, holy grail for retro collectors. If the gaming industry were a restaurant giant, Citizen Kabuto would be the weirdest fusion dish ever served. You ordered one meal, but the chef brought you 3 completely different cuisines on the same plate. Why is it a masterpiece? Because of its sheer schizophrenia. The game offers 3 factions, and playing each one feels like playing an entirely different genre. McCarran's high-tech aliens in spandex with jetpacks? Their campaign is a tactical shooter filled with dry British humor. They don't care about saving the world. They just want to drink beer and complain. Sea Reapers, ethereal sea goddesses who use magic and bows. Their gameplay is fast, fluid, and feels like a high-speed action game. Kabuto, the star of the show? You play as a hulking kaiju monster. You stomp on buildings, throw enemies, and most importantly, grab the tiny villagers' Smarties and eat them to evolve and grow larger. Playing as the final boss was an incredibly satisfying power trip. Why was it forgotten? Because it was so creative, the marketing team had no idea how to sell it. Is it a shooter? Sort of? Is it a strategy game? A little bit? Is it a Godzilla simulator? Only for 1/3 of the game. Gamers in 2000 were confused. It suffered from a massive identity crisis. Combined with high system requirements and a buggy launch, Giants became a buried treasure, a cult classic beloved by anyone lucky enough to understand its bizarre brilliance. Have you ever wanted to play God? Not a commander like in Age of Empires, but an actual omnipotent deity? Black and White was your ticket to that throne. In this game, you have no body. You are simply a giant floating hand. You can use that hand to stroke your villagers and help them build homes, or pick up a farmer and throw him over a mountain just because you're having a bad day. Why is it a masterpiece? Because of the creature. You choose a giant titan, a cow, ape, or tiger to be your avatar on Earth. The insane part was its artificial intelligence. It learned like a real child. If it ate a villager and you slapped it, it learned that was wrong. If you stroked it and praised it, it would eat the whole village next time just to please you. There was no HUD, no cluttered menus. You wanted to cast a rain spell? You physically drew a W shape in the sky with your mouse. That level of immersion was decades ahead of its time. Why was it forgotten? It is a tragedy of technology and bureaucracy. Currently, Black and White is essentially a bent where EA owns the rights but refuses to do anything with them. Even worse, the game's ancient coding makes it nearly impossible to run on Windows 10 or 11 without complex hacking and modding. The once mighty god is now trapped in the dungeon of hardware incompatibility, with no key to let it out. Imagine if Final Fantasy stopped taking itself so seriously, drank a few beers, and started cracking jokes. The result would be Anachronox. It is a Western RPG with the soul of a Japanese JRPG, set in a grimy, sleazy, yet utterly captivating cyberpunk universe. You play as Sylvester Sly Bootsa, washed-up private investigator, drowning in debt, living in a slum, floating in space. He isn't trying to save the world. He's just trying to make enough money to stop the local mob from breaking his legs. Why is it a masterpiece? Because the imagination here is boundless. Your party doesn't just consist of humans and robots. The star of the show is Democritus's shrunken planet. Yes, one of your party members is an entire planet, complete with a population living on its surface, floating around your head and firing lasers. The writing is razor-sharp, satirical, and hilarious. The turn-based combat system feels familiar to JRPG fans. Yet, the gritty Western atmosphere creates a flavor you can't find anywhere else. Why was it forgotten? Anachronox was a victim of the Ion Storm curse. The studio was infamous at the time due to the catastrophic failure of John Romero's Daikatana. By the time Anachronox launched, nobody trusted the developer anymore. Furthermore, it looked old. It was built on the aging Quake 2 engine. In 2001, gamers wanted sleek, high-poly graphics, not blocky characters. A game with golden content was wrapped in outdated visuals and a bad corporate reputation, causing it to sink the moment it left the harbor. Let me tell you about one of the most heartbreaking stories in gaming history. Beyond Good and Evil wasn't just a game. It was a soulful journey that deserved so much more than the hand it was dealt. You play as Jade, not a soldier, but a broke photojournalist with green lipstick. She lives in a lighthouse with her pig uncle Paige, simply trying to raise a group of war orphans. Why was it a masterpiece? Because it had heart. The world of Hillies felt alive, blending a beautiful sci-fi aesthetic with a dark, mature political plot. Jade's most powerful weapon wasn't her combat staff, it was her camera. The core loop involved infiltrating dangerous facilities, photographing evidence of an alien conspiracy, and publishing the truth to the public. It was a brilliant mix of Zelda-style exploration, stealth, and genuine emotion that players still mourn today. Why was it forgotten? It was a classic case of commercial suicide. Ubisoft released the game during a crowded holiday season, sandwiched right between their own massive blockbusters. Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, and Splinter Cell. With the marketing budget drained by the Prince and Sam Fisher, poor Jade didn't stand a chance. Despite glowing reviews hailing it as a work of art, it sat unnoticed on store shelves, the brilliant middle child that the parents forgot to pick up from school. Forget the sparkling vampires of teenage romance novels. Welcome to the Los Angeles of the world of darkness, where being a vampire isn't a fantasy, it's a political nightmare soaked in blood. You are a newly sired fledgling thrown into a snake pit of vampire politics. You must survive, not just with your fangs, but with your wits. Why is it a masterpiece? Because of its terrifying level of agency. Your choice of clan fundamentally rewrites the game. Pick the Toreador. You are a seductive socialite who can charm your way through any locked door. Pick the Nosferatu. You are a hideous monster. If humans see you, the police are called. You are forced to navigate the city via sewers, playing a stealth game while everyone else plays an RPG. The peak is the Malkavian clan. You are insane. You hear voices in your head, you argue with stop signs, and your dialogue options turn into cryptic, prophetic riddles. No RPG has ever matched this level of writing depth. Why was it forgotten? It was a classic case of commercial suicide. Activision forced the developer, Troika Games, to release the game on the exact same day as Half-Life 2. Going up against Half-Life 2 was bad enough. But the game wasn't even finished. At launch, Bloodlines was a broken, buggy mess. Players bought discs that wouldn't install or encountered game-breaking crashes halfway through. Troika Games went bankrupt shortly after. It took the fan community over 15 years of patching the code themselves to finally make the masterpiece playable. If you've ever wondered what the inside of a madman's mind looks like, Psychonauts is the wildest answer gaming has ever given us. You play as Rasputin Raz, a young circus acrobat who runs away from home to break into Whispering Rocka's summer camp designed to train psychic secret agents. Why is it a masterpiece? Because it threw the rulebook out the window. While other platformers gave us ice levels and lava levels, Psychonauts gave us neuroses. Jump into the mind of a rigid military instructor. The world becomes a chaotic battlefield where you have to punch censorship. Enter the mind of a paranoid security guard. You find yourself in a twisted, gravity-defying suburbia where housewives are undercover agents and the milkman holds the key to reality. It tackled mental health themes with unparalleled wit, empathy, and creativity. Why was it forgotten? Simply put, it was too weird to live. In 2005, the gaming world was obsessed with gritty realism and Macho Heroes God of War, Resident Evil 4. The art style of Psychonauts was intentionally grotesque characters, had giant heads, bulging eyes, and crooked teeth. To the mainstream audience, it just looked ugly or confusing. Combined with a publisher Majesco that ran out of marketing money, this genius title flopped hard at launch. Gathering dust until word of mouth eventually turned it into a cult classic years later. Some games are played for fun, but Okami is played to cleanse the soul. It isn't just a piece of software. It is an ancient Japanese inkwash painting that suddenly decided to come to life. You don't play as a soldier or a hero. You are Amaterasu, the great sun goddess, descended to Earth in the form of a white wolf. Why is it a masterpiece? Because of the celestial brush. This mechanic was pure magic. In the middle of combat, you freeze time, turning the screen into a sheet of parchment. Draw a horizontal line. Your enemies are sliced in half. Draw a circle in the gloomy sky. The sun bursts forth. Draw a bomb. Stone walls crumble. It gave you the feeling of divine power like no other game. Combined with its timeless sumi-e art style, Okami is technically ageless. It looks just as beautiful today as it did nearly 2 decades ago. Why was it forgotten? Okami was the victim of right game, wrong time. It launched in 2006. During the dying breath of the PlayStation 2, the entire gaming world was distracted. Hyping up the flashy HD graphics of the newly released PS3 and Xbox 360, nobody looked back at an artsy game on an obsolete console. It sold poorly, and the legendary Clover Studio was shut down shortly after, leaving the White Wolf to wander into legend rather than the charts.